it is in that flip lesson we did on Tuesday. When do we want to use 22 over 7, Thatcher?
When the radius is divisible by 7.
When the radius is a multiple of 7. Okay, so that is a hint on that number 1. What do I want to use for 5?
22
over 7. If you use 3.14, you still get a correct answer. I would still fully accept it, except this will get, if you use 22 over 7, it's going to give you a whole number rather than a decimal. On this one, it gives me the diameter. Is there a diameter formula to get area?
No.
No. So what am I going to need to make sure I do beforehand? Yusra? Divide it by 2. So let's go ahead and do that so we don't forget. So the radius is going to be class 8. Okay? So I want to see formula substitute solve for both of those problems. Okay? Go ahead and solve. Pause the video if you're at home and play when you're ready. So we're at that point. For those of y'all at home, we're going to use 22 over 7 for pi because 49 is a multiple of pi, or sorry, I can't see, is a multiple of 7. Okay? So I'm going to go over here and just do some over. So 49, I'm going to go ahead and put that 49 over 1 because I'm going to multiply by a fraction times 22 over 7. I'm going to move this over real quick. Oh no!
Oh no.
Oh no. We're getting there. We're getting there. Move chocolate. Okay? Again, we are multiplying those two. So the whole point of using 22 over 7 is to cross multiply. We really need to get comfortable with that. I can't do anything with 22 and 1, or with 49 and 7. We can divide them both by 7. 49 becomes
7.
7 becomes 1. Okay? So all we have to do, again, because 1 times 1 on the bottom is going to go away, I only have to do the 22 times 7. So that area, so we already worked it, got me 154
CM2.
cm squared. 2 is not the same thing, okay? Because that sort of implies that you're multiplying by 2. Squared or to the power of 2 works, okay? We want to sound like we want to speak appropriate. Yeah. We want to sound like smarticle. Okay. Then the next one, we already said that the radius was 8. When I substitute that in, 8 equals pi. 8 squared is equal to 64 pi. Again, that's not a multiple of 7, so it's not going to really save me any effort by doing that. So I'm going to use 3.14. Okay, 16, 5, and 12, 0, 4, 8. 15, add it all up, 6, 9, 0, 0, 2. Okay, and then it says to round to the nearest 10. Normally that means to this place, but in this problem, 6 rounds my 9 to 10, and 10 would round that up to 201. Again, the only reason why that ended up a whole number is because they rounded up. Okay, that would be meters squared. Cool. Okay, unfortunately, life is not all playing circles with no word problems. Here. Okay, so we're going to look at some word problems together, and then we will be rocking and rolling on our own. Okay, on this next one, it says if the length of the radius of a circle is double. All right, going on to number 4. Oh, yep.
Where's
All right, so number 4, if the length of the radius of a circle is doubled, how does that affect the circumference in the area? Raise your hand if you know that off the top of your head. Okay, you can see it's not everyone, and most of those people might even have it. Okay, put your hands down. It's okay if you don't, because I don't expect you to, because I haven't talked about it. Okay, so the way to problem solve that situation is to make up our own circle. Woo!
okay?
Fun time. Woo! Okay, so of course, because we are who we are, let's make it easy on ourselves, okay? Let's get easy circles, not 642 radius and then doubling that.
No.
Okay? But no, because then that wouldn't be. So, again, just like when we would substitute in 0 and 1 for like our equivalent expression, 0 and 1. Let's do 5. Let's do 5. I love 5. Let's start with the radius of 5, and we're going to see how that changes when I do what to the radius? Double it. So that second radius is going to be 10. Okay? We want to see how that affects the circumference and the area of the circle. So let's start with circumference. Okay? We're going to say that C is equal to 2 pi r. Let's use that formula. Okay? Circumference is equal to 2 pi times 5. And I'm going to leave it in terms of pi, so that's going to be
10 pi.
10 pi. Again, it doesn't say to leave it in terms of pi, but it's not even asking for the area because I'm making up my own circle, so I can leave it like that. Ha. Okay. We're going to see how that changes. So we're going to find the circumference over here, 2 pi r. This radius is 10. So that's going to be 20 pi. Okay. So what do we see happening with the circumference of those circles? When I double the radius, what happened to the circumference? I'm letting y'all absorb and think about it. Zach, what do you see happening?
It doubles.
It doubles. The circumference doubles. Y'all agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, and if you plugged in any radius that you wanted to, it would always double.
What about the area?
Okay, so let's find the area. Yes, so it really doesn't have our problem. We need to find the area now. A is equal to pi r squared. Substitute in pi, my radius is 5 squared. Okay, I have to do that squared part first, exponent in the order of operations come before multiplication. So 5 squared would give me
25.
not just 25, but 25 pi. Okay. Do it with the other one. Area equals pi r squared. Area is equal to, now my radius is 10 squared. You okay down there?
No.
Okay. A equals pi 10 squared. 10 squared is 100 pi. Okay, so what happened to that? What happened to that area? Yes, grunting really makes me want to pick on you. Peter.
It multiplied by 0.75.
It added 0.75. But what did it multiply by?
Basically, no, 1/4.
Mm-mm. How many quarters does it take to make up $1?
4.
4. So the area quadrupled. Okay, so let's think about, why do you think that happened? Why do you think it quadrupled? Ian, why do you think it quadrupled? Yeah. Okay. We had to square, so we had the radius squared, and then we had double the radius squared. And doubling that double part, if I'm squaring the double, what would that do? Quadruple. It would end up quadruple. Yes. Or did you get this top part?
Yeah, but the quadruple.
Okay. So again, how did it go? What's the relationship between 25 pi and 100 pi?
It got multiplied by 4.
Which is another way of saying quadruple. Okay? Yeah, quad means 4, so quadruple. Instead of triple or double, quadruple is the
I've never
I got 6.
Hey, you learned a new word today. Okay? So I'm going to skip number 5 just because, and we're going to go to number 6. Number 6, let's find the area of the shaded region. I would find it if I could find the shaded region. Okay, so let's just shade in this one. Okay, then on your star chart, you're going to find the formula for a donut.
No, not. Great question.
I got one of my classes. Okay. So, instead, what am I going to do? Raise your hand. What do I do instead? Hey, what am I going to do instead?
So you figure out the area of the donut hole,
Yeah.
and then you figure out the area of the part that you eat, and then you take that and subtract it from the hole.
Great. Okay. Another way of saying that is the area of the big minus the area of the small.
Oh,
It's a right or wrong way. It's just a different one. Okay. When you find those areas, I'm going to show you a way to make it easier. You're going to leave it in terms of pi. Okay. Yes, I know it says to multiply it out. We still will, but not yet. Okay, so find the area of each of those in terms of pi. Pause and play when you're ready. Okay, so looking at the 12, that's marking the what?
Diameter.
That's the diameter of which one?
The big.
Of the big. The 8 marks the diameter of the small. Do we use the diameter? No. So you have to change it. So you got it.
No.
Okay, so let's, there's a little bit of chatting. Thank you. A equals pi r squared. Okay, so again, for that big one, this marks the diameter. The radius is going to equal 6. So that's going to equal pi 6 squared. And so that's going to give me 36. Not just 36, guys. 36 pi. Okay. Other one. The radius of that small one, the whole thing is 8. This is going to be 4. Very good. Okay, so pi 4 squared. Okay, so that's going to give me 16 pi. So again, if you listen to Miss Idle and the 3 times she said it, leave it in terms of pi because then we don't have to multiply. I'm going to show you that you can actually subtract these two just as they are. Okay, instead of doing a decimal error here and a decimal error here and then subtracting and then finding another HC, let's just keep it nice and pretty. Okay, so 36 pi and 16 pi, I can actually subtract like they are. And why do you think that is, knowing what we have learned in KAP? Think about what we've learned, okay? Pi isn't a variable, but it sort of kind of looks like what? Peter, what do you?
Because they both have the same sign, so.
Yeah, it's sort of like, what was that thing I called it? They are kind of like constants, not really. I mean, technically they are because they were multiplied out, but they are like terms. You can get the door, please. They are like terms because they are being multiplied by the same thing. Yes.
Well, I was going to say 2 pi's cancel out.
Yeah, and well, if I divided, they would cancel out. Well, sort of, kind of. Yeah, they sort of, kind of cancel out. Okay. No matter what, you can subtract them just as they are. 36 minus 16 is going to give me 25. 25. Okay, so now we still do multiply by 3.14. It's just we only have to do it once. Okay, so 3.14 times 20. My 8th period, we are recording, and I would really appreciate if you would stop the talking. Thank you. Okay. So, because it ends in a 0, I can go ahead and cross that off and put a placeholder and then just multiply the rest of it. Okay, make your life easy. 4 by 2, 1 by 2. Yep, that's the rule. So, yeah. Well, it's not something you're going to learn. It's just a quicker way. Because if you multiply anything by 10, it adds a 0 every years. And, yeah. Okay. So that's going to be 8 to 6. Move the decimal over 2 spots. Okay? Nearest 10, I would just get rid of that 0 at the end, 62.8 meters squared. Okay, so if you did multiply that by 3.14 and that one by 3.14 and subtract, you could still get that, but we still make math errors in 6th grade. That's just a part of life I do too as a teacher. So this just reduces the chances of that mistake happening. Okay, and it's just a lot nicer. And it also is quicker. Okay, because now you know that's an option. Okay, the last little part of today's lesson is on partial circles. Partial circles are parts of circles. Whoa. Okay, so when it is 1/2 of a circle, another name for that is a semicircle. Okay. If it's half of a circle, you're going to find the area of a circle just like normal and divide by 2 or multiply by the 1/2. You laughing until you get it wrong because you. Okay, so I wonder if it's 1/4 of a circle, it's called a quarter circle. Maybe if we cut out the chatter. Okay, so again, that formula is I would find the area of a regular circle and divide by
1/4.
No, divide by. Okay, guys, 8th period. Let's sound smart on this recording. We would divide by Or multiply by 4. Okay?
I'm confused.
What's confusing?
No, is this not all the fractions and multiply by this and divide by that?
Well, you have to understand that dividing by 4 is the same as multiplying by 1/4. We sort of explored that this whole year. All right, so the big thing about those partial circles, the biggest mistake is people forgetting to divide by that half or that quarter, okay? It's beautiful, beautiful work until that last step, okay? So again, to help prevent that, include that in the original formula. This is on the next page. Okay, go ahead at the top, say round to the nearest 10. Okay, I'm gonna set one up with you, and then I'm gonna let you work on them yourself. Okay, again, this is a what kind of circle? Semicircle. Okay, so that means I'm gonna multiply by
1/2.
multiply by 1/2. So area equals 1/2 pi r squared. Again, the semicircle and quarter circle formulas are not on the star chart because they give you a regular circle. You just need to remember to divide by 2 or multiply by whatever, okay? So formula, write it out, substitute in your values. 1/2 of pi r squared. That 6 is talking about the radius, so that's going to be 6 squared. What part do I have to do next? I have to do that exponent first before I get rid of that fraction. So 1/2 of pi times 36. Okay, now I can try and get rid of that fraction. I do multiplication after the exponent. So could I do 1/2 of 36? Yep, that would give me 18. So I've divided my circle by 2. Okay, I've done this in my part. Now I just need to do that last step of multiplying 3.14 times 18. Okay, so I'm going to let you go on your own. Things to note. 12.4, is that the radius or the diameter?
Diameter.
That is the diameter. Again, we don't have a diameter formula, so you're going to need to change something. That 4, is that the radius or the diameter?
Radius.
Okay, it is the radius, but for some of y'all, you're like, well, that shows the whole length. Well, if it's confusing, fill in the rest of the circle. Then you can clearly see that that is just the radius. Okay, just because it does the whole length, we'll get that circle. Okay, so I want you to work those 3 problems and then check with me, and then you can move on to the word problems. That's the class work for today. Odds are going to be homework. Thank you.